You're watching Mainland News. I'm Joya Devine. In the news today, chlorine gas build-up at Port Nelson hospitalises workers, house prices rise in Motueka, fall in Nelson, dye testing up Maitai River, public response to economist merger comments, no sign of tourist vehicle or gear, and special interview with the Broods. On Monday morning, a chemical reaction occurred on board a vessel at Port Nelson, causing a serious build-up of chlorine gas. It's understood that 4 Sealord workers were taken to hospital for assessment after inhaling chlorine gas while working on board the Sealord fishing vessel Aukaha. The rest of the boat had been cleared after the incident as a safety precaution, according to a Sealord spokesperson, Alison Secura. The median house price last month fell by 1% compared to May 2013, with prices rising in Motueka but falling in Nelson. Latest REINZ figures show compared to April, the median price fell by $10,000 in Nelson, by 19% in Richmond, but rose 16% in Motueka. And in a year-on-year comparison, sales volumes fell 14% across the region. The number of days to sell eased to 52 in May this year, compared to 39 days in April. Residents are warned to not be alarmed if they see bright green colours in the Maitai River this week. Council is carrying out dye testing on the gravity pressure sewer under the Maitai River near the Collingwood Street Bridge this week, using a fluorescent dye. If there is a leak from this pipeline, then the dye will show in the Maitai River. The dye is non-toxic and designed for use in this type of investigation work. The exercise was undertaken 2 years ago and no problems were found with the pipe. It's being tested again as part of the continuing investigations into the detection of E. coli in the lower Maitai River. ANZ Chief Economist Cameron Bagri recently told media that the amalgamation of Nelson City and Tasman District Councils would provide better economic direction for the region. 2 years ago, a poll was held in which there was strong support from Nelson voters, but which was largely rejected by Tasman. A bid for amalgamation therefore failed. Another proposal was instigated this year by lawyer Rick Farr, but which has been declined by Local Government New Zealand. Mainland intern Raj Agarwal asked people on the streets of Nelson and Tasman for their views on a merger.
Concept of combining the Nelson City Council and Tasman District Council has been brought up recently by a chief economist at ANZ. What do you think about this?
I have an open mind, so long as it's an open and transparent process, which it clearly was not last time.
That's a good idea. Why not?
I prefer the idea of them being separate, to be honest. I think there's enough separation geographically, but also there's lots of different things happening. I think there'd probably be a better focus for each place if they were kept separate. Yeah.
I have no opinion at all. I've not heard of that.
I think possibly times are tough and to maybe save costs. But I appreciate Richmond is a great place and it has its own spirit and entity. It would probably save costs.
My personal idea is as the same, now separate as it is now, yeah.
Well, I'd probably rather stick to just the Tasman because it's a huge district to look after.
I think it's pretty good.
Stay where we are. Quite happy. I'm too old for changes.
Personally, I think smaller is the better, so 2 little ones better than 1 big one.
I think not to merge them. I think they're entirely 2 separate places. That Richmond is more like country, more rural. Nelson is city, and if it's merged, I think more money will go to the city rather than the rural areas. They'll get sort of forgotten. So I say no, don't merge.
It's just okay to have them separate. I don't see so much merit by combining those 2.
I would wonder where he got his figures from, because from my perspective, and I'm fairly heavily involved in corporate affairs, the figures that they're quoting don't stack up. Point is that if you look at the various debt levels between the 2, Do we want to take on their debt levels? Do we want to take on all the Nelson City Council's mamby-pamby decision making? I mean, who needs all these fancy bloody, excuse the language, these fancy architectural things and arty-farty stuff? We all like them, but we can't afford them. Bottom line is we can't afford them. Our rates are rising. You know, when you look at our average wages versus our rates, we can't afford all that nonsense. They can if they want it. They can have the debt. We don't want all that stuff.
Two French tourists were shopping at Countdown off Halifax Street when their car was stolen from the car park. This happened on Friday, and the two men were on their way down to Christchurch when they decided to take a stop in Nelson. There were several items stolen with the car, including a few $100s, iPads, clothing and cameras, leaving them with only their passports and credit cards that they brought into the supermarket. A local who was on the scene when the men discovered their car was missing has been helping the tourists out by treating them to coffee and breakfast while they figure out their next step. Tasman Police Communications Manager Barbara Dunn says the vehicle is still outstanding. If anyone sees the green 1996 Subaru Legacy Grand Wagon, registration YX8359, they are urged to call the police. A Nelson City Councillor's comments regarding Richmond have come under fire from some members of the public lately. I asked Mayor Rachel Rees for her thoughts on the matter. Now, another bone of contention has been Councillor Pete Rainey's comments that Richmond is just a suburb of Nelson.
He's a controversial fellow, isn't he?
Now, is this how you see it as well, Rachel?
No, I don't. I think one of the things I'm working really hard with and working with Tasman District Council over is that we're complementary, and we need to be complementary. I think what's going on in Richmond is really positive, and we need to make sure that that retail experience is complementary to what we're doing in the CBD. Most cities in New Zealand have large shopping centres as part of the retail mix, and I think the people in the town of Richmond are really proud about their place, and so they should be. I think the comments from Pete were perhaps designed to be a bit provocative, but what he was saying, and he's right about that, is Richmond's not a city. Nelson is a city, and Nelson is the civic centre for the Nelson Tasman region, and I don't think that will be disputed by Tasman District Council either. They've got a completely different mix and in a huge rural community and some great townships.
Now, one has to wonder whether maybe we're having an identity crisis, you know, and that maybe we need to revisit who we are.
Oh, look, I think we need to celebrate who we are. You know, I think we have a number of communities, a number of neighbourhoods throughout the whole of the top of the South Island that are fantastic places to live. And Nelson City Council at the moment is spending some really good energy working on Stoke, and we've talked about that before. Stoke's a great place to live. Utterfai's a great place to live. Richmond's a great place to live. And they're all part of what makes living in the top of the South Island a fantastic experience. So it's not about working against each other, it's about working together.
And no one would argue against you on that one, but maybe the issue lies in the names. You know, we've got Nelson, we've got Tasman, we've got Nelson Tasman. You know, it's the way we perceive ourselves, isn't it? So maybe the name needs to be looked at, do you feel?
Do you think a new name for the region? Look, I think most people talk about Nelson. You know, if you're visiting relatives in Auckland, they say, "Oh, look, I'm coming down to Nelson to go to the Abel Tasman National Park."
We are sometimes identified as Tasman, though, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Or Nelson Tasman.
We are, but you know, interestingly, there's value in that Tasman name. If you're talking to people from the Netherlands, they identify very strongly with the name Tasman. So, you know. Differences are, you know, I always say is positive. Diversity is a positive thing. Yeah,
it's good to talk about it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I think, you know, do I think there's any great need to have a name change? No.
Or even just debate, yeah.
Yeah. Look, I think we can debate these things all of the time.
It's a bit like Rocks Road, that issue.
Yeah.
The The 2014 LGNZ conference will take place next month in Nelson. The local government sector oversees a huge range of services every day, affecting the daily lives of all New Zealanders, from the pavements you walk on, the roads you drive on, managing the quality of the water you drink, and the recreation grounds where you cheer on your kids. LGNZ's 2014 conference will focus on local government's role in powering economies and building vibrant communities. LGNZ and its members are working hard to build a stronger New Zealand, including strengthening local economies, lifting governance practices, building vibrant communities, and finding solutions to issues arising from demographic changes and the imbalance of city and regional development. These actions build a stronger, more effective sector and will be prominent in this year's conference. The conference will take place in the heart of Nelson City and be host to at least 500 delegates made up of mayors, chairs, executive councillors and senior management from New Zealand's councils, along with key players from the private sector, government and non-government agencies. The LGNZ conference is a chance for delegates to listen to highly regarded local and international speakers taking part in valuable hard-hitting discussions and network within the sector. Organisers say the momentum of change for local government is building, and we expect the 2014 conference to reflect this change and exceed expectations. Nelson Underage is a new organisation designed to help make Nelson the best place in New Zealand for youth to grow up in. The fundraiser held at the Theatre Royal on the weekend was a huge sellout success, with local brother and sister group The Broods headlining in the evening, taking time out from their busy schedule to return to Nelson to perform one show for their hometown over the weekend. Organiser of the event, Nelson Underage's Nathan Telford, says the suggestion to bring the Broods to Nelson came out of discussions with the Nelson City Youth Council. The event was a family affair, with the younger sister of the Broods, Georgia and Caleb Knott, booked for the opening of the night's concert. Georgia and Caleb Knott are well known locally as being from the original lineup of The Peasants, who were the winners of the national finals of Smoke Free Rock West 2011. Mainland TV's Chrissy Small caught up with the Broods, Georgia and Caleb, at Nelson's Theatre Royal before their evening gig.
Is this the first time the Broods have actually played as the Broods here in Nelson, other than in the family lounge?
At Rewalker last New Year's, but that was very early days.
It wasn't in Nelson. But yeah, this is our first proper gig that we're headlining. So
now it's an exciting time to always come home, I guess, you know. But Auckland is claiming you as your own.
No, we make sure that people know that we're from Nelson.
Oh, that's great. So look, you guys have been touring extensively. You've been over in North America. You've been over in the UK. Through to Ireland. You know, where's your favourite place that you've been so far?
I think we both really love London.
Yeah, London's always kind of just has a really cool vibe.
Now tell me, okay, so you both went off to Auckland to go to uni, but obviously this is your drive now, this music thing. You know, have you been surprised at how quickly it's all happened?
Oh, for sure. We had no idea.
It's a little bit mental, you know. We didn't really even think that we would get this far, let alone this far so quick. And we were pretty much preparing ourselves to work our asses off till we could just get a tiny chance to play outside New Zealand, and it all just started happening straight away. It was weird.
So, okay, now I believe you guys know Lorde, and she's a huge success, of course.
Yeah.
How do you think you're going to handle? I mean, you know, being out there in the public profile is quite difficult for anyone. And I look at Lorde and I think, wow, that girl's amazing. She's got her head screwed on, and I really like her commentaries, her the way she tackles things. But there must be a time when you get a lot of haters on board that it gets quite depressing. Do you think you've got the resources behind you to deal with that kind of negativity if it should come?
We've been extremely lucky to kind of have 90% positive, and
more than that. Yeah.
It's been such a smooth ride for us so far. And I mean, I know that there are going to be bumps in the road, but you know, like we're not in it by ourselves. We've got like each other 24/7.
A lot easier.
Yeah.
And we've got, of course, like our parents and like a really strong like base of people around us that, you know, will have our backs no matter what. So it's just kind of about surrounding yourself with people that you know genuinely care about you. And for us, we're lucky to have that on tour and everywhere we go.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're going around the world really fast, everything's happening super quick. Are you getting lots of ideas for material, for the songwriting material?
I think pretty much the whole album was pretty much written about what we've been through over the last 6 months and being on the road and stuff. And
Yeah, we write lots of lyrics when we're away. We can't really sit down in a studio when we're on a plane or driving in a car, but
I guess everyone just writes about their personal experiences, and that's what we're doing right now, so I guess it's pretty much the main
it definitely
fuel
comes
for
through in the album.
Yeah. Okay, so tonight you're performing, I believe it's a sold out evening.
Yeah, apparently.
Damn, I've missed my ticket opportunity. But look, now, are you going to be presenting any of your new material?
Yeah, we'll be playing a few tracks off the new album, and
Yeah, I think we play about 5 new songs. Yeah. So it'll be exciting.
Yeah. Now, I heard your mother-father track the other day. Stunning.
Oh,
it's
thank
really
you.
stunning. Thank you. What a great gift for Mum and Dad.
Yeah, I
Mum
think.
cried her eyes out, I think.
Yeah, Mum cried when she first heard it, and then when we played it live in front of her, she got a bit like emotional and stuff. But that's Mum for you.
Okay, now I'm getting emotional just because I'm a mother and I know exactly what that means. So you're here in Nelson. What are you going to be doing after you've been here? I mean, are you going to have a bit of rest and recreation with the family before you head off?
Yeah.
Maybe a day or two.
Yeah. We've got Caleb's off tomorrow, and I'm staying an extra night just to kind of catch up with the family. But yeah, we've got a couple of weeks of not travelling after this, which will be good. just a wee breather and sleeping in the same bed for more than 2 nights.
Yeah, living out of a suitcase can't be that easy.
Yeah, it's really annoying when you mess it up and you have to pack it in the early hours of the morning. Don't feel like doing that.
Always do it before you go to bed.
Yeah.
It's my trick.
Yeah. Do you think you want to become rich enough so you can hire someone to pack your suitcase for you?
That would be amazing.
Might just take our sister.
Yeah. Just love
go,
to just
look,
be able
we'll
to take
take
my
you.
sister.
We'll take you with us. You just have to pack our bags. That's all.
She's not very organised with her own life, but I feel like she'd probably be good at organising somebody else's.
Great, so you keep the whole thing in the family, you know?
That's the plan.
Brilliant. Now, okay, so you guys are performing tonight. Is there anyone else on stage with you?
Yeah, we travel with a drummer. So
But that's it, it's just us two and a drummer, which is weird when we play on big stages because we don't really fill it up with our tiny bodies.
It must be quite a change because, of course, the Peasants was such a big amount of people. And so, 7 people, you know, it must feel quite strange suddenly being down to 2 plus 1.
Yeah, I've definitely found myself moving a little bit more. You definitely feel like you have to compensate for how much space there is, and it makes you kind of become a better performer when you have to be put in a situation where you feel like it's necessary.
You've got to try and fill the stage.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where the music is so important. And I've noticed with working with Joel, there's a lot of he has a lot of light and shade, and there's a lot of space in the music. Are you enjoying that?
Yeah, he's
amazing, man.
He's, like we can't sing his praises like enough because he's been like a huge part in the making of Broods, and he was there right from the start.
Mentoring of us as well.
He was there right from the start when we were in the Peasants, so it's kind of he's been basically like a big brother through it all.
It's just as much a part of this project as we are.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's kind of the invisible member.
Yeah. The invincible member.
Invisible member that doesn't have to go on heaps of planes.
So does he come out on tour at all with you, or does he kind of just sit in the background tinkering away in the studio waiting for you to come home?
Yeah.
He just turns up if he's in the same city as us at the same time.
Yeah. Which is it's pretty scary. It's like probably the most nervous we get is when he's in the audience, and
because you can see him
He's so tall.
He's so tall.
You see him all the time, and it's just a bit, you want to make him proud. And he said to us that he was pretty proud of us the last time he saw us play in Auckland with Ellie Goulding. So that's kind of a big thing for us to make him proud.
Yeah. So, Ellie Goulding, I mean, when you discovered that you'd be opening for Ellie Goulding, how did you feel?
I felt like I was going to be bloody living my dream. I've been like a huge fan of her since her first single came out, and like
She used to sing her songs all the time.
yeah. So to be on the same stage as her and like kind of get to interact with her on like a personal level and get to know her is something that I was super grateful for, and you get to learn off people that have been in the industry for ages, and just by watching her is like a huge lesson. And you're just kind of in awe of all these people, and it's cool that you get to be part of it,
So where to, after you've done everything, you've had your rest and recreation, you've done your gigs in New Zealand, where are you going next?
We're off to the States
Yeah.
for a week and a half maybe, and then through to London to do some festival stuff, and then back through Oz and then home. And then probably off again.
Yeah, it seems like a constant, just kind of like
Circle.
going around. But we are doing some shows in Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch in August, which will be cool. Headlining shows for us, so it'll be awesome.
Yeah. So you'll be telling everybody you're from where?
Nelson. Even though we were born in Blenheim.
We were born in Blenheim.
Oh, don't say that. So what, the wind blew you over here, did it?
Yeah.
You guys, I wish you the best. Mainland wishes you the best for future endeavours, and we're looking for those stars on Hollywood Boulevard with your names and handprints or whatever.
That would be pretty amazing.
Okay, look, thanks very much for your time today.
Thank you.
After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region.